What do you do when your HOA president pulls a gun over a fence dispute, and your 300-pound ram decides to play hero? Let me tell you, I never thought I'd be staring down the barrel of a Glock 19 on my own Montana ranch, let alone watching my sheep take down a corrupt tyrant. My name's Ethan Harper, and this is the wildest story of how a fence, a ram named Brutus, and a whole lot of grit exposed a multi-million-dollar conspiracy that shook our little corner of the world. 6 months ago, I left my tech job in Silicon Valley, trading algorithms for wide-open skies. I sank my life savings de la $2 million into a 50-acre paradise in Silver Creek Estates, Montana. The name sounded idyllic, but it should have been my first red flag. After a decade at a tech giant, I thought I'd seen the worst of petty politics. Boy, was I wrong. I walked straight into the twisted world of Homeowners Association madness, led by none other than Victoria Langley, the HOA president with a clipboard and a vendetta. It all started with a fence. Not just any fence, mind you, a Dula 75,000 teakwood beauty, handcrafted by Montana's best builders. I wasn't messing around. I wanted to protect my ranch, my dream. Before ordering a single plank, I pored over the HOA rulebook like it was a coding manual. Article 17, Section 4. Perimeter fencing may not exceed 8 feet. My fence? 7 feet. I was goldener, so I thought. The morning we broke ground, I felt like a kid on Christmas, watching those teak posts rise. My ranch hand, Carlos Ruiz, a hard-working guy sending money home to Guatemala, was overseeing the crew. He'd warned me about Victoria. "Senor Ethan, that woman's trouble. She forced the Millers out over a mailbox color." I brushed it off. How bad could she be? Then I met her. Day 3 of construction, Victoria stormed across my property line like she owned it. Picture a 5 feet 4 inches woman in a neon green power suit, clutching her clipboard like a weapon. Her hair screamed, "I need to speak to the manager." And her eyes had that gleam you see in people who love control. "What do you think you're doing?" she snapped. I climbed down from my ladder, wiping sawdust off my jeans. "Morning, ma'am. Ethan Harper. Just building a fence." Her fake smile looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. "I'm Victoria Langley, HOA president. That fence violates Regulation 127. I blinked. I checked the rules. Article 17 allows 8 feet. This is 7. She tapped her clipboard with a nail sharp enough to cut steel. "That rule's outdated. I'm changing it next meeting." I kept my cool, but my tech brain hated her logic. "It's the current rule, Mrs. Langley. I'm not breaking a law that doesn't exist." Her eyes narrowed. "I've run this community for 5 years. I decide what's best for property values." Property values? My rustic fence was worth more than her car. I snapped. "With respect, I'm following the rules. Change them if you want, but it won't apply to me retroactively." Her face turned plum purple. "You'll hear from me, Mr. Harper." She whipped out her phone, snapping photos of my fence like a paparazzo, even measuring it with the tape from her purse. Carlos whistled. "Senor, you just kicked a hornet's nest." That night, I did what any ex-techie would. I dug. What I found chilled me. Victoria had changed HOA rules 12 times in 5 years. 3 families moved out after, violations, wrong grass type, holiday lights up too long. Each time, their homes were snapped up by an LLC called Peak Pulse Holdings. Too neat to be chance. By 3 a.m., I had a file thicker than my old employee handbook, mapping connections like I was debugging code. Something was rotten in Silver Creek. Then came the HOA's emergency meeting to cap fence heights at 5 feet. Victoria, in a blood-red suit, ran it like a dictator, her PowerPoint full of irrelevant Florida-gated communities. My lawyer Rachel Kim, a property law shark, called her out. "My client's fence complies with current rules. Retroactive changes violate state law." Victoria's smile didn't waver, but her grip on her laser pointer did. I stood, heart pounding. "Mrs. Langley, you've changed rules 12 times, always targeting someone. like the miller's mailbox or the Patel's decorations. Yet your pool's 400 square feet too big, and your greenhouse never got approval. I held up Google Earth images. The room buzzed. Neighbors murmured. An old man, George, shouted, "She fined me $500 for my grandkid's basketball hoop." Chaos erupted. Victoria banged her gavel, but the vote was close 8-7 to keep the rules. She looked like she'd choke on her rage. Afterward, I overheard her on the phone. "The vote failed, but I've got other ways." "He's clueless." My stomach nodded. George warned me. "Watch your back, son. She doesn't lose gracefully." That night, I sat on my porch with Carlos, sipping beers, watching Brutus graze. My 300-pound Dorper ram, bought from a Wyoming farm, was gentle despite his size. "Trained him like a guard dog," I said. Carlos laughed. "You don't need a pit bull. You've got a woolly tank." But then we saw a black Cadillac SUV idling at my driveway. Victoria's car. It lingered, then drove off. Ominous. Next morning, my fence was vandalized. "Tear it down!" in red spray paint. Security footage showed Victoria's SUV at 3:17 a.m. I saved it everywhere. Cloud, hard drives. Sheriff Tom Reynolds watched it, scratching his jaw. "It's her car, but no clear shot of her painting." "Circumstantial," I groaned. "Who else, Tom? I just beat her at the vote." He promised to talk to her, but warned. "She's slippery." Convewine said the mayor to move the town festival for her book club. As Carlos and I scrubbed paint, he shared more. Victoria tried to evict a family over their kids' violin practice. The paint job was precise, like she'd planned it. Controlling, even in crime. Then came the environmental inspection. 2 guys from a shady outfit, one being Victoria's brother-in-law, Mike Torres, claimed my sheep's waste violad regulations. Fine started at $2,000. The paperwork looked fake, pixelated letterhead, a rookie Photoshop job. They lingered near my eastern property line, where I'd found fresh surveyor stakes. Carlos whispered, "That's Mike. Did her landscaping last year." My blood boiled. I called Rachel. "This is harassment, Ethan," she said. I dug deeper. Victoria's funneling HOA funds to Peak Pulse Holdings, registered to Mike. Fraud. I barely slept, watching Brutus patrol. At midnight he perked up, staring east. A coyote was stalking a ewe. Brutus charged, crashing through a gate into Victoria's 50,000 rose garden. By the time I caught him, her prize roses were confetti, her fountain a sheep bowl. Brutus munched a rose, innocent as ever. I groaned. "Buddy, you've done it now." At 7 a.m., Victoria pounded my door, screaming about her Princess Elizabeth roses. "Those were $50,000. You'll pay for my fountain, my trellises, my pain." She had a folder of receipts, photos, like she'd prepped for this. I stayed calm. "I'm sorry, but someone tampered with my gate. Maybe the same person driving by at 3 a.m. Her eyes slit. "You're accusing me?" I pressed. "Like your brother-in-law fining me for fake violations? Or the HOA funds going to your shell company?" Neighbors gathered. Mrs. Ellis yelled, "What funds, Victoria?" Victoria spun, hissing, "Lies! He's ruining our community." Then her hand moved to her purse. Time slowed. She pulled a Glock, waving it wildly. "I've kept order for 5 years. You and your beast think you can ruin me?" I raised my hands. "Victoria, let's talk." She ranted about her ex-husband, her ungrateful kids. Her voice unhinged. Carlos dialed 911. Neighbors hid. Brutus watched, tense. "You think rules don't apply?" she screamed, aiming at my chest. I heard my heartbeat, felt the breeze. She fired. The bullet grazed my ear, her aim shaky. Then Brutus charged. 300 pounds of fury hit her like a truck. She flew, red suit flapping, gun spinning, face shockedarsing 10 feet into my horse trough. The splash was epic, water and algae exploding. She surfaced, a slimy mess, her suit ruined, hair a soggy mop. Carlos caught the gun like a pro. Neighbors laughed. George roared. "Did you see her face?" Even I cracked a smile, legs wobbling. Sheriff Tom arrived, dash cam rolling. "Victoria Langley, you're under arrest, assault, reckless endangerment, terroristic threats." She sputtered. "I'm the president." "My ex-husband." Tom cut her off. "Your ex called. Said you're banned from guns?" Restraining order, skipped anger management. Handcuffed, she ranted about conspiracies. I sank onto my porch, Brutus nuzzling me. "Extra feed tonight, buddy." The footage showed more, a blue sedan HOA VYC President Leonard Walsh's car parked, watching. He took photos but never helped. Tom's face hardened. She wasn't alone. The next day's headline? HOA President arrested after gunfight, saved by hero Ram. News vans swarmed. Brutus posed for photos, a local legend. But an anonymous text chilled me. "This isn't over. You've no idea what you started." The FBI rolled in, led by Agent Laura Mendez. "Ethan, this is bigger than Victoria. Peak Pulse Holdings is tied to Rockfield Mining, targeting HOAs to snatch mineral rights. My ranch sat on Dula 200M in rare earth elements. Victoria's fence obsession? A ploy to block their access road. Leonard, a Rockfield board member, was her handler. They'd driven out families, buying land cheap. Victoria skimmed HOA dues, took kickbacks. Her home hid, leverage files, blackmail on everyone. Her journal? Paranoid rants about her divorce, her kids, her need for control. A vet, Dr. Emily Chin, called it narcissistic paranoia. Leonard flipped, exposing Rockfield's schemes across 12 states. Victoria's trial was a circus. She got 15 years for fraud, extortion, assault. Leonard got 8. Rockfield faced millions in fines. Silver Creek dissolved the HOA, electing George as president. The state protected our land as a preserve. I started the Harmony Ranch Foundation, helping kids with disabilities. Brutus charmed them, gentle as ever. Carlos brought his family over, and Sheriff Tom retired, volunteering at the ranch, spinning tales about Brutus the crime fighter. A year later, we held a festival, unveiling a Lady Justice statue. To a community that fought corruption. The Patels lit up for Diwali, the Garcias sold tamales. My phone buzzed a Hollywood producer. "Chris Pratt as you, Ethan. Ideas for the Ram?" Brutus, munching Mrs. Ellis's flowers, bleated. I grinned. From techie to hero, I'd found something better than peace, community. Victoria was wrong. Standards aren't control. They're neighbors standing together. And if your HOA gets pushy? Read the bylaws, document everything, and maybe get a Ram. You never know when you'll need one.